So Jimmy Dore got some backlash on Twitter for one of his takes again, and this time it's about a guy by the name of Peter Daou. Now, just really quick before we jump into the video, I do want to let you guys know that I'm over on Patreon, patreon.com/theprogressivevoice. You can get access to a bunch of patron-only content, so make sure to go check that out. These are all patron-only videos and early access to other videos. We are putting less ads on videos and covering more news stories, so make sure to go support patreon.com/theprogressivevoice. And so Peter Daou was a guy who was pretty ingrained with the Democratic Party and the establishment. He was a big Hillary guy. He then founded a media platform called Verit, which you'll probably remember, and it was branded as like the platform for the 60-something million, I forgot, 63 or whatever it is, of people who voted for Hillary Clinton. And Hillary Clinton, if I recall correctly, she actually tweeted out, hey, come on this platform, which indicates to me that, she's in touch with Peter Daou and all that stuff. So, what that really tells me is Peter Daou is really ingrained with these people. He was a big guy who was a supporter of Hillary Clinton. He was very anti-Bernie Sanders and all of that kind of stuff. So that's who we're looking at here. And then all of a sudden, some months ago, he decided to do a complete 180 and become this massive, huge Bernie supporter. So he sent out a tweet saying, two people I've known for a long time, David Sirota and Neera Tanden, are having a Twitter dispute. As someone who has been on both sides of their debate over Bernie's role in the Democratic Party, I'll say this. Sanders is the best thing that has happened to Dems in decades. It took me 2 years of shedding my 2016 anger to see clearly that Bernie Sanders is a transformational figure in American politics who has sparked a powerful progressive movement. #NotMeUs has the capacity to stop the march of fascism. Mealy-mouthed centrism won't do it. I very much enjoy the mealy-mouthed centrism comment. Very strong. Now, Jimmy Dore responds saying, the cretins and warmongers who are paying me to lie, I'm a liar for hire, and smear Bernie and progressives now want me to infiltrate progressives and divide them from the left. Thank God progressives are just gullible enough to fall for this. And so this is obviously, a made-up quote that he's making up to represent the situation at hand. Now, I don't believe that's how you spell cretins. If that second E is not an I, that's insanity. But he's a conspiratorial guy. Okay, we all know this. We know who Jimmy Dore is, all right? He's a conspiratorial dude. We all know that, okay? He's big on conspiracies. He had a weird conspiracy where it was like he thinks that Hillary Clinton purposefully came out and endorsed Andrew Gillum because she knew that he would lose because of her endorsement of him. So essentially, she knew she was this plague, this cancer, this bacteria, this infection that could make Andrew Gillum lose, which is absolute insanity. Now, here's what I will say. What I will say is Peter Daou clearly has been a grifter at some point. Now, at which point has Peter Daou been a grifter? I'm not sure, because I remember seeing a tweet from like 2012, 2011, somewhere around there, where he sent out a tweet, fawning over the Green Party, and I believe it was Jill Stein. And as you guys know, he was very anti-Jill Stein in 2016, as many of the corporate Democrats were. So there's something going on there, okay? There's something going on there. And if you're to deny that he's a grifter at some point, okay, if not now, at least at some point, then I'm not really sure what your thought process is. I think that for most certainly, you should be careful about Peter Daou. You should be worried about Peter Daou. You should be cautious because, again, he's had some pretty close ties with Hillary and, the corporate Democrats. And so it just seems weird. So I'm not saying necessarily that this is even, a fake transition of his. It could be real. It's totally possible. I think that it's fairly unlikely. And I think it's undeniable that at some point this man has been a grifter. And again, at which point, I'm not really sure. But people went off on him for this tweet. This one says, you're happy to smear Bernie for Tulsi. You and Eagle House are like two 7th grade boys with the puppy crush. This one says, just remember you fell for Obama's sales pitch twice. Different lanes get us there at different times. He's falling for Tulsi's sales pitch right now as she's catering to a right-wing base more and more. It's her only semblance of a hope of a shot for the nom. I thought you didn't like cancel culture. What if I said Tulsi Gabbard was just a liar for hire infiltrating progressives to divide them from the left? I wonder how you'd respond. I mean, come on, she used to be in the DNC, and if I'm reading you correctly, people can't change. Now, what I want to, also add to this is he makes the claim that he's dividing progressives from the left. He doesn't provide any examples of Peter Daou dividing people from the left. And as far as I know, I haven't seen any cases in which Peter Daou has been dividing the left. So I don't see that at all, and I certainly welcome Peter Daou's help. Now, am I cautious of Peter Daou? Absolutely. Absolutely, I'm cautious. But do I welcome his change? Absolutely. This one says, you are inconsistent with the condemnation. Cenk Tulsi, you all have passed. I don't know where your negativity is springing from, but you got to reel it back. The thing about growing a movement large enough to defeat corporate America is that it certainly will contain those with whom you disagree or have a less desirable past. You are being as condescending and divisive as tweet as Daou was in 16. This one says he doesn't trust him, but he's a valuable ally. And this whole thing is really big. It says, taken with a grain of salt, someone who's global enough to think that Tulsi is a better champion for progressives than Bernie, self-reflect much. This tweet is so ironic. Maybe what you claim about Daou is true, though I don't see him trying to sow division amongst progressives. But you definitely are. That's pretty much what your entire shtick has evolved to. I hate saying that because I used to love your show. This one says, falling for what? I'm not basing my decision on anything either one of you say. At least he's not following the same script. I get it. He blocked me, but what's the worst that can happen? You make zero sense. The same Jimmy who says unite with Mike Cerno to stop the wars also says don't unite with Peter Daou to push a progressive agenda. Now, well, that's funny. I would like to see a response from Jimmy to a comment like that. That's very remarkable of a comment if you do ask me, because that's a good point. That's a pretty good point. I'm not sure what his refutation of that would be. Who do you think would follow him away from their progressive values? If he starts spouting shit, we drop him as quick as anyone else who turns. Come on, dude. We want everyone to come to our side. That's how we win, and that's how we change the world. I think you're wrong this time, Jimmy. We need to welcome him. What's he hurting? The one thing Daou does that fits with Jimmy Dore distrust, he tends to equate Bernie and Warren. Sorry, we're really not going to allow anyone to grow or change their mind anymore. Peter Daou goes VBNMW. I don't know what that means. After the primaries, I'll apologize, but right now it strikes me as bad optics. You should listen to him about why he's changed his mind before you condemn him. In his conversation with Nina Turner, he sounded genuine. Could be a very good liar. Could be bona fide. So listen, man. I mean, there's a lot. The last one, it says, this tweet says a lot more about you and the esteem you hold progressive voters in than it says about Daou. Why would anyone trust Daou? Why would anyone trust you? Blah, 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 blah. There's just a ton of tweets just going after him. Ton of tweets just hammering this guy. Hammering him absolutely hardcore. So, listen here, man. When it comes to someone like Peter Daou, he is definitely someone to be wary of. I know I always use weary. It's wary, okay? Definitely be a little bit skeptical of the guy, okay? Because he has been a grifter at some point, and for anybody to flip that hard, that quick, and somebody who is so ingrained and, deeply tied in with corporate Democrats like Hillary Clinton, it's definitely something to be careful of. But, Jimmy's a conspiratorial guy, and I don't see any examples or any proof of him dividing, us from the left, dividing people, in the Bernie Sanders / progressive movement from the left. I have not seen that in any way. I've not seen any division that he's attempting to push in. There's no example of this. He doesn't provide any examples of this. And so, while I think that Peter has been a grifter at some point, I do think that it's good that he has made his change, obviously, because we can use all the support that we can get, and the more support for Bernie Sanders, the better, obviously, right? That's how we're going to win. And it is something that a lot of people have liked, and I think that I agree with Jimmy on one point here, and that's essentially that, Peter Daou has been a grifter. He's a bit worrisome of a person, and, he's a bit shady of a figure. Okay, let's put it that way. But I haven't seen any evidence of him dividing anyone from the left. And I also believe that, it's good. His change is good.